giving every kid access to tech in the classroom. Turns out that might have been a mistake. This is rough, dude. Gen Z is the first generation in history, in recorded history, to score worse on standardized testing than the earlier generation. One leading factor, and I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I'm reading the notes for now. One leading factor, as pointed out by neuroscientist Jared Cooney Horvath via TechSpot, seems to be the negative correlation that exists between the time students spend on digital devices in school and their academic performance. The more screen exposure, the poorer the results. For the last 2 decades, U.S. schools have spent a total of more than $30 billion with a B dollars on laptops and tablets for students. And here's a chart showing how higher in-class computer use is correlated with significantly lower math and science performance across both high-income and middle-income countries. This is mind-blowing.
Those are pretty big jumps.
Now, it is very important to note, and this is one of the reasons that I am so opposed, and this comes up a lot between me and the labs team, for instance, that I'm so opposed to non-zero y-axes.
Yeah.
And I get it. The argument is always, hey, I'm trying to accentuate the difference to make the graph more readable. And my response is always, if you have to do that to accentuate the difference, then I guess the difference wasn't so big. I see both sides.
Okay.
We want to clearly indicate which one is the winner, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, a difference in a total score of 550 and 500 is like hugely problematic.
It's also weird because the top two, the bottom line is actually 480, and the bottom two, the bottom line is 470. It's off by 10. And it's also like, what do these represent? Like, is what I don't know, is this American school system or something? Like, what is a 490? Is a 490 a C?
Okay, that's a completely separate issue, but basically that's a valid issue.
I mean, it's effectively the same issue because we're talking about what is the severity of the difference between the things.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I hate it when we mess with a y-axis, and so I will often get into it with labs, especially around things like FPS graphs, where they're like, "No, I really want to do this," and I basically go, and like one of the most famous ones was me and Lucas around efficiency plotting.
Oh, really?
Because he rightly, he kind of malicious compliance showed me what it would look like at 0, where the efficiency of basically every power supply is pretty much the same. And I was like, okay, well, how about this compromise? We show that they're all basically the same, and then we show a zoom in. Because to me, that context of, hey, they're all basically the same is actually really, really important when you're understanding that when we're looking at the difference between 80 plus silver and 80 plus gold, we really are just kind of splitting hairs here. It's not that big of a deal. But in the context of engineering a power supply, achieving that extra 1% or 2% of efficiency can be a Herculean effort and cost a lot of money in the materials. And so I totally understand why you want to show, hey, they achieved something here. And you want to make your visuals readable.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to go on this side topic for too long, but the point is just that this is wild. I'm not going to say causation, but there is a pretty clear correlation that tracks.
Consistent as well.
Yeah. Across 4th grade math, 4th grade science, 8th grade math, and 8th grade science. I don't know where they're finding these kids who almost never use a screen, but good on the parents. That's I
suspect is there schools that just have not adopted? I'm assuming.
Is this this must be in school use. That makes way more sense.
Yeah, this is in school use.
Yeah.
I mean
it says right on it.
It sure does.
Where's the source for this? People are asking for the source here. I think it's from TechSpot. Here you go. So TechSpot interviewed the dude, and here's the yeah, here you go.
The Trends in International Mathematics and Science Study, or TIMSS.
Freaking wild. However, lots and lots and lots of other factors.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
At play here.
I suspect, honestly, a bigger impact would be electronics use outside of the classroom.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd control for that.
You can't, like, at all. Parents, not as a learning institution.
Parents would not self-report correctly, and this dude, this one blew me away. I was helping out with a class field trip the other day. They did a ski field trip.
I was going to say, was this the mountain?
Yeah. And I like to be involved while I still get a chance.
Yeah.
Like my kids are not going to want me as a parent chaperone forever.
It comes back around, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what I hope, right?
But there will be a gap in there.
Yeah. But basically, I was chaperoning this thing, and one of the kind of side eyes and like kind of undertone conversations that I had with one of the teachers was how impossible it is to get just like accurate height and weight of the kids on the intake form for the ski trip, which is really important because when they're adjusting the bindings in the tech shop for your ski rentals, they need to know how strong of a skier you are, how old you are, and how much you weigh, so that they can make sure that they will detach correctly in the event of a crash, right? And I overheard, or what was part of, I wasn't eavesdropping, but I was part of a conversation where one of the other parents speculated that the reason that the teacher got like 3 different, like clearly incorrect responses for one kid was that it's actually the kid doing all correspondence with the school because the parents are just like not involved and didn't know how to like measure themselves. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
Basically. But it pretty much, it highlighted why you could never count on getting any kind of accurate, meaningful data about out of school use.
You could never do it. I just suspect that's a very significant impact. Because of tangential things, right? Like if they're spending all their time doom scrolling because their parents don't care anyways, like is their attention span so wrecked when they're in class that whether they have a screen in front of them or not, they're just not going to absorb anything. Like that type of stuff I think is relatively important. Daniel
Chin says, this isn't even a y-axis issue. There's not enough description about the study methodology, and without actual controls, there's a panoply of confounders. Okay, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about y-axis issues with the presentation of anything. And yeah, that's why I have carefully avoided saying that it is like a causation. I've said correlation. All we've seen is that Jared Cooney Horvath says that there seems to be a negative correlation. That's what we've said. And I pointed out that the way that these are laid out makes it look like a bigger difference than it is.
Yeah.
That's how we got into the conversation about the importance of drawing attention to, at the very least, if you are not using a zeroed axis. That's all. It's okay. It's also clearly a multifaceted problem and is not just down to using computers in the classroom. Because like we had computers in the classroom and we had the computer lab as well. Like we used computers all the time when we were in school, but...
You had computers in the classroom that wasn't the computer lab?
Yeah, we had like, when I was in elementary school, we had often like one computer in the classroom. And so if you finished your work early, like you could play Oregon Trail sometimes if your teacher was a bro.
Sure. Not at your desk though.
No.
But sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I had many of those examples, but maybe it was a thing. I do know that was like a thing at some schools.
And that was like before even teachers had a computer at their desk.
Yeah. Sometimes there would just be like a station.
Yeah.
Little workstation in the computer in the corner.
Or like if you had a student that had like a learning disability or something, then you'd often have a little computer for them to use.
Yeah.